way through rectangles of glass. With that, we are here, and can I have this fine prop? Can you just hand that to me? Hopefully on your chair, you found the Mozilla Festival 10th anniversary book. We want you to know this is your first party favor of the weekend, and, he said gingerly, you've got a little special reward for showing up at approximately 9 on a Saturday. This is an only in the Mozilla Festival plenary analog bookmark. This is something you can't even get these on eBay yet. So, yeah. So anywho, there are a couple things to say about this book. One, we lovingly refer to this as interactive analog. And you're like, Gunnar, interactive analog, what might that be? There is a set of chapters that talk about the 10 years of Mozilla Festival to date. There is a blank 2019 chapter. We encourage you to write your own notes, write your own story, or if you're the nostalgic type, well, just get signatures like it's a high school yearbook from the people you love, so you can remember this weekend with them. In addition, there's room in this binder for chapters that we'll be adding after this event. And we're going to invite all of you to help us think about what stories we tell coming out of Mozilla Festival 2019. So please carry this away with you. This is a party favor of the festival. We thank all the people that helped us make this book, and we thank you all for continuing to help us write this continuing story of Mozilla Festival. Thank you. Appreciate the support from the front row. Yeah. We, in general, believe that people like me on stages like this are not good use of y'all's time. But we do want to start this day with a couple of quick words from several wonderful folks and invite them to share why they're here, what they are thinking about during the Mozilla Festival, and how they might invite you to think about what we are doing here together and in this larger world. I need folks to visualize making lots of loving noise multiple times this morning, but can we practice that and start off by welcoming Angela, the Executive Director of Ushahidi. Angela. Yeah.
Thank you, Gunnar. Good morning, everyone. I am pretty excited to be here. It's amazing to be able to celebrate an amazing festival that's been working to build a healthier internet for the past decade. Let's just give them love bombs for that to start with. Thank you. Now, I know MozFest, this particular MozFest is special for all of us because it's the last one when we'll be here in London, right? But it's also pretty special for me because, first off, I love giving cuddly hugs. This is me in 2013 with Foxy. I've been to 3 MozFests, but this is a special one because it's my first one since I took on the executive director role. And getting this opportunity to actually speak on stage and talk about the impact that MozFest has had on us and where we're looking to go in the future. Ushahidi's been here for 11 years. For those of you who don't know about us, we are a technology company that was born out of the post-election violence that broke out in Kenya in 2008. It's a tool that was primarily created to help ordinary citizens share information around what was happening in the ground then and just create a bottom-up approach to how information was getting shared so that people actually knew what was going on. And in those 11 years, we've seen the platform being used more than 180,000 times in more than 160 countries. A tool that was born out of problems you always tend to associate with Africa, low bandwidth, bad governance, that's ended up creating such massive impact in the world over the last 11 years. And that's something that couldn't have happened without it being open source, because it helped people across the entire world just, take it, create it, or rather adapt it to their own individual context and make it their own. From, humanitarian responders being able to connect with people in need and send over critical resources, or helping ordinary citizens create or rather contribute to democratic outcomes in their elections, helping them protect their votes. In Kenya, not once, twice, about 5 times. In 2017, we had 2 elections, but that's a story for another day. In Zambia, in Zimbabwe, or also helping to create awareness around human rights violations, tracking cases of sexual harassment against women in Egypt, or what's been happening in Syria over the last couple of years. So in a nutshell, the platform has been used to help marginalized people to raise their voices, and we are committed to making sure that that keeps happening. Now, every year we've been at MozFest, we've had Ushahidi representation in one shape or the other. Right now we have 4 other members of the team here who'll be running sessions on Sunday, and it's something that we've always done year to year. And it's been important to us because it's one of the places we're able to converge once a year with people who are like-minded, who are steered towards the same goal, building a healthier internet, and who are also aligned with the goals that we have as a company or as an organization, trying to make sure that we are shifting how information is getting shared and allowing people to actually share their opinions. I remember back in 2012, this was right before the Kenyan elections in 2013. We held a small hackathon, and we had one particular problem, trying to figure out how to engage with people with just feature phones, and make sure that they're actually included in the conversation. And from that one day of being able to sit together with people from across the entire world, we were able to develop strategies that have informed us developing an election monitoring toolkit that we've used in 2017 in our own elections, and that people are continuously coming back to take and adapt into their own individual contexts. Right? We've had staff members be a part of the Open Leaders program and begin to start thinking about how to also engage with designers in the open source space so that we are designing the right kind of tools or designing tools in the right way so that it's actually able to help people in an appropriate manner, right? Or being able to connect with fellows who then help us look towards moving from collecting data, converting that into information, and then knowledge. Because it needs to go beyond just having the data somewhere, but actually making sense out of it, and then making use of it in a way that will then inform better decisions getting made. Right? So MozFest has been absolutely key in helping us create those connections and seeing that work then continue to go on over the rest of the year. It's just, a really good way of being able to celebrate all of that. Now, I've been with Ushahidi for 8 years. I started off as a software developer back in 2011. So I was part of the team that was actually, there building the features, fixing the bugs, and all of that. And then over the last 5 years, I primarily moved on into bridging the gap between, or rather creating a connection between people who are building the software and the ones who are making use of it and contributing to it, helping to build social movements around the tools that are getting used in all those different contexts, whether it's humanitarian response or crisis mapping and things like that. And the reason why I am now taking over and working with a fantastic team that is majority female, to steer the ship towards a new direction, but not too new, because a lot of people are terming this as us going back to our roots. And the reason why that's the case is because we are now entirely focused on making our products fully open source. Over the last 10 to 11 years, we've gone through making the platform open source, exploring different business models in the open source space, but it's been tough. Right? We've identified, or rather, there have been barriers to people being able to make use of it. And so what we want to do is slash and burn those barriers, making sure that anyone across the entire world, regardless of the financial ability, is able to access a tool to raise their voices, whether it's somebody who wants to create awareness about human rights violations in their country, or somebody wanting to find a way of being engaged and making sure that they can keep the elections free and fair and peaceful. So making our tool completely open source, and also committing to engaging, being more intentional in engaging with our community, so that we're also looking towards helping them leverage the technology to be more impactful. It goes beyond you just developing a tool and leaving it out there, but are you actually understanding in what context are they making use of it? How do they adapt it to their own individual context? How do they then apply it as well to their own different strategies so that they're able to make better use of the tool? So essentially it's just going back to being open source, engaging more with our community, and building the capacity to make use of our tools. So that's what the future looks like to us. As a parting shot, I think it's just a call for everyone to, celebrate that we're able to come together at MozFest. It's been 10 years. It's so amazing. So make use of the next couple of days to continue to engage with each other and make sure that we're making a difference in the world and building a healthier internet. Thank you.
Thank you, Angela. Thank you, thank you, thank you. There are so many people to give credit to for Mozilla Festival and so many movements and activities that connect to it, but there's a single individual who indulged in a lot of conversations 11 years ago to get a sense of how Mozilla could have a role in open and healthy internet. And so I would really encourage everyone to give a very warm welcome to Mark Shermin, Executive Director at Mozilla Foundation.
Thank you, Gunnar. Hello, MozFest. And thank you, Angie. I don't know where you went. There you go. Thank you, Angie. You are such an example, as so many other people are here, of folks, of organizations who have, over the course of these 10 years, whether you came 10 years ago, 9 years ago, 5 years ago, last year, just for the first time, have made this a place that is useful for each other as we go through those evolutions in what we're doing through the year. And so really thank you for sharing that story, and I'm excited for the next 10 years of doing that. So reflecting back on 10 years ago where we kicked off the first MozFest in Barcelona, I really was, and those of you who know me will find this surprising, at a loss for words as to what to say as we kind of kicked off this 10th anniversary. And somebody said, I think it might have been Sarah, but we have a whole book. And so I thought, why not just take a page from the book? So just hold on. Literally just tear a page from the book. All right. That's the purpose of the book, is to have pages torn from it and put back in, and this is the spirit of MozFest. But I didn't kind of know how to frame this reflection on the 10 years. And then I came across a lot of stuff in there. You should spend some time with that book and add to it. But something that Michelle Thorne, who was one of the other people who helped us get it off the ground 10 years ago, and Gunnar and I wrote this summer. And it's sort of, I think, section 2 or something. And it kind of goes like, if you've been reading the news over the last few years, you might have a feeling like, oh shit, the internet's broken. It doesn't say shit in here, they edited that out. But that's good about being here. And many people feel that, and it's a kind of reasonable thing to feel. But if you have been at MozFest for any part of the last 10 years, you may have a slightly different feeling. You might say, hey, the internet is broken, and there's something we can do to fix it. And let's just roll up our sleeves. Come on, let's go. Let's go and fix it. And that is the spirit we have held for those 10 years. Roll up your sleeves, come on, let's go. And I really hope that those of you who have helped keep that spirit alive continue to, and that those of you who are new pick that up and move it forward. As we move into the next couple of days, you may notice that subtly it's kind of woven into all these different things: openness, neurodiversity, digital inclusion, queering, decentralization, all the things you see. There is a kind of thread around trustworthy AI that kind of goes through all of it. And it's an intentional piece, partly because we're in a moment right now where that is the case with AI, and data-driven decision-making is woven through everything we do. It's woven into our cities and facial recognition in cameras. It's woven into our homes and speakers that talk to us and listen to us. It's woven into how we get to see, or who decides what we get to see in terms of news. And we're in a world where that pervasive data-driven surveillance economy is something that not just us, but like more and more people don't trust, are worried about. And so this year, both Mozilla and the festival, we're really trying to dive into how do we have that come on, let's go attitude to fixing that. To not just stare with fear or powerlessness at the big tech companies where our governments are taking technologies like AI, but turn it around and make it more trustworthy instead of something that we don't trust, and take control of it. And what is exciting is, over like last night at the science fair, at the MozFest house, for those of you who were there, I already felt a lot of that come on, let's go spirit around this AI theme. People who are not only talking about let's regulate the tech platforms and how this works, but fresh ideas like regulations that will actually take our data away from the platforms, give it back to us. It's much in the way that, say, long distance and local were torn apart in the phone world in the 80s. People talking about, in fact, you can do this here, not trusting Amazon to build your Alexa or Google or Apple, but building your own. And there is a build your own Alexa session here. And people talking about a different kind of engineer and different kinds of teams and more diverse teams building our technological world. And there are a lot of people talking about that here, and a lot of people who represent and live that every day here, bringing more ethical, more human-centric ideas to how we build these technologies. So that, come on, let's go spirit really is the thing I'm most inspired by in MozFest, and I think it gives me hope. I would say the last couple of years have been a little bit more dour in terms of looking at how much is broken. I'm excited to be with this community, which is there to make it better and fix it. So I look forward, let's kick it, the shins of the tech giants a little bit while we're here, but let's also go and build something better. Come on, let's go.
Thank you, Mark. I need to request a huge Mozilla Festival welcome for a first-time MozFester. Alia, you are a Mozilla Creative Media Awards recipient. Welcome.
Yes. Hello, everyone. I think it's pretty cool that we just heard from people who've been a part of MozFest for a full decade, and then there's me who's here for the first time. But it's good, the representation. So a little bit about me first. My name is Alia. I grew up in Cairo, Egypt, and I think my upbringing in Cairo really instilled in me a deep care for social responsibility and social impact. But also, I was a preteen when the attempted Egyptian revolution happened, which meant that at a very young age, I was thinking and worrying about justice and equity and accountability and all those concepts we care a lot about here at MozFest. I also study computer science at New York University in Abu Dhabi, which means that I love technology and working with it and always have. And I think for a lot of years, for the past few years, I've been trying to find the intersections where these seemingly distant or separate parts of my identity lay. So I would think about how to use technology for social impact and try to find spaces that were at the overlap, but I always felt like it was sort of a bit of a contradiction. And then in 2018, I took a class called Politics of Code with Pierre, actually, and in Craig's department, so thank you both. So the class is about the socio-political and economic implications of software and how it affects our society. And these were three of my classmates, Gabor, Jihun, and Miha, who ended up being my teammates later on. But in class, we spoke a lot about how there's often a gap between people building the technology that affects all of us, and then members of the public who are affected by this technology, but do not feel comfortable questioning it because they may not understand the technical language or are mystified by the technology and think computers are always accurate. And that's a big problem because if you don't have an aware public that can question how tech is being built, then you can't hold anyone accountable for what's happening. So we saw later on in the year Mozilla Creative Media Awards call for projects that have to do with AI's impact on society. And at this point, we're definitely not part of the Mozilla community. We've never been to MozFest, but this was sort of our entry point. So we proposed a project called Survival of the Best Fit. And it's online, so you can check it out and give us feedback. But Survival of the Best Fit is an interactive game or simulation that's intended for people who may not want to wake up at 9 a.m. to attend the opening circle of MozFest because they don't really care about internet health. And maybe people who don't even know what an algorithm is or what machine learning is. And the goal of the game was to teach them how, or tell them how algorithms could be biased and how software does depend on the people building it. So you go through the game as, without giving you too many spoilers, you go through the game as the CEO of a small startup, recruiting new people. So you go through a manual recruitment process, and then you're being told you're not fast enough, you need to introduce an automated hiring process. So you're walked through like a high-level process of how that happens. You're being told that your earlier decisions are going to be used to make that algorithm. And then as you walk through the game, you see how the algorithm ends up being biased, even though you may not have intended for it to be. So working on this game, I think something that was super important for all of us was to make sure that the target audience is people who may not have any familiarity with the concept beforehand. So we did user testing, like sitting outside of a library, bribing people with Palestinian kunefa and asking them, like, do you understand? And if you play it and you don't understand, please let us know so that we can make sure it's more accessible to everyone. But something that I reflected a lot about while after building this game was that I was talking to people and I was often asked the question, did you have a personal experience in your life or did you have something that you've been through that made you very passionate about AI ethics or tech bias or algorithmic accountability? And I was like, no, like I didn't grow up thinking about algorithmic bias. Like I didn't know what that is. But I did grow up thinking about bias, about accountability, about justice. And I think looking at how that reflects in the technology we consume is just a natural extension of caring about these topics in general. And I think that's really important as we think of the 10th anniversary and the internet health movement or tech ethics or tech policy, and to not think of this movement as something that's specific to the internet or to technology or all the themes that we discuss here, but as a natural extension and an integral part of a broader movement to make sure that our societies, both on the internet and off the internet, represent all the spaces that we have here, decentralized, open, inclusive, and so on. So I think we're at a great place right now. It's a great step for us all to be here. But I also think these conversations can't just stop here. So I think if we all go to these sessions, talk and have these very important conversations, then that's great. But I think what we actually need to do is make sure we take them forward. And when I was told I have to speak at the 10th anniversary festival, I was like, yes, this is going to be about hope, and I'm going to talk about how excited I am for the future. But I don't want to lie. I'm like many 21-year-olds. I'm pretty scared. I've seen my country and my region plagued with human rights violations and other things I'm not going to mention while there may be recordings. I've seen like the threat of the climate crisis, authoritarian regimes all over the world, big tech companies having more and more power over their internet. So I may be a little scared of the future, but I think what I am excited about is what we can do together and the possibilities that exist when we come to places like this and have conversations like this, but also when we go outside of the buildings of Ravensbourne and make sure we have these conversations with people who may not be familiar with the conversations. And to make sure that we're not just building a future that's survival of the best fit and not survival of the farthest away from rising sea levels or survival of the wealthiest or survival of the most technically sophisticated, but the survival and the happiness and opportunities for all of us.
That was fantastic. Thank you. Thank you, Alia. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you all for making those speakers so welcome. We have some minor, mundane, critical things to go over. There are, as I point out every year, two kinds of people in this room. Some of you know that by arriving for plenary and being in a chair, you have opted into the world-famous Mozilla Festival group photograph. Couple of comments that there will soon be a very talented photographer directly above me risking his life to take that photograph. I'm going to be asking folks while I blather on for 3 or 4 minutes right now, can we be filling the chairs that are not yet full? And so if you're out on the edges, please think about sliding down. You can pass the unclaimed books down to the empty chairs at the end. If you're out on the periphery and willing to be in the group photo, please help us fill the chairs. As a perfectionist, an empty chair in the group photo is like a broken pixel on a laptop screen. It annoys you every time you look at it. So please help us fill these chairs and get ready for the big, loving group photo. And also, we'll be bringing people down the aisle in about 5 or 6 minutes after we introduce the Wranglers. There are people here that have yellow lanyards on. If you don't want to be in the photo, that's totally cool, but we'll be inviting you in just a minute to share your chair with someone who is more JPEG ready. All right, friends, I want to go over how we ask you to participate at this event. I will first start with ways we invite you to show up, and then I will talk about ways we invite you to not show up at Mozilla Festival. Things that we do that make this event specific and special and unique. We ask everyone here to demonstrate respect for everyone else here in all ways at all times. That's a big ask, and we mean it, and I'd like to be specific. One of the best ways to show respect is to help us keep the day on schedule. I can't overstate how many amazing facilitators and Wranglers have prepared compelling sessions, and those people are sad when folks arrive at their session halfway through, when folks drift in or interrupt. So if you're going to a session, I know those coffee queues are long. I know that coffee is amazing. Can we get some big love for our coffee baristas? Thank you for filling us with caffeine. We love you. But we beg of you, take the drip option and run if you are late to a session. Please arrive on time and please help sessions to wrap up on time. As we are in sessions and as we are in dialogue, we ask you to focus on listening. So many times at events like this, people assume that other people have the same definitions for the words we're using in our dialogue. Ask any two people here what the word open means, and it could turn into an outright argument. Ask any two people here about what is the right future for the internet, and I don't think we have enough time to settle that debate. Let us listen and honor what other people mean by the words they use. Let us welcome a diversity of opinions and analyses and perspectives. A corollary on being a good listener: have you ever suffered in the company of an interrupter, someone who thought they were smarter and what they had to say was more important? Any survivors of interrupter situations? Thank you. Solidarity, solidarity. Let us not interrupt. If you want to speak in a session, signal, be polite. Come in like you're part of a synchronized dance crew, not a mosh pit at a punk show. Though there's nothing wrong with that for all parties opting in. Finally, the third guideline of respect, and I joke about licenses and open versus free. Has anyone here ever survived an open licensing debate? Any survivors out there with me? Yeah, I feel your pain. And so let us agree to disagree in moments where we are, in fact, not on exactly the same page. Have you ever been, three guidelines on inclusion, have you ever been in a place where people used language as a passive-aggressive weapon? Jargon, acronyms, oh yeah, another survivor over here? I am with you. Please let us commit to using the simplest, most inclusive language. I self-identify as ugly American. That means I talk too fast and I use words that are only understood in the state of California, USA. Let us use simple, inclusive language. When we speak, and I'm talking to my monologuers out there, make one point and let others talk. In a group of participants, focus on speaking 1/nth of the time so everyone's voice can be heard. Friends, in an event like this, it's not about fetishizing expertise. It is about honoring learning, and questions are always acts of leadership. Feel safe, feel free, feel empowered to ask your questions. If it's in your head, I guarantee you that you are not alone. Almost done with the asks, but people go to big events like this. It's intimidating. Oh my goodness, all these humans, what's the deal? And what do people tend to do? They get with people they know, and they talk about stuff like the coffee and the setup and, oh my God, was the tube as hard for you as it was for me? We beg, we demand, we implore all of you to talk to the friends and allies you have not yet met. I really encourage you to feel safe. Introduce yourself in the coffee line. Sit at lunch with someone you have not ever talked to before. Mozilla Festival is a movement-building event. I ask all of you to see yourselves in some form of a community organizing ethos where you should be building power laterally with friends and allies that you have not yet connected with. Those are the ways in which we invite you to show up at this event. Help us get what you came for by helping everyone else get what they came for to Mozilla Festival. In addition, on the back of the lanyard is a list of things that we aggressively frown upon and ask you not to do. And so I will not try to awkwardly read my whole lanyard, but in all seriousness, please avoid anything that could be interpreted as violence or threats of violence, personal attacks, derogatory language, unwelcome sexual attention or physical contact, disruptive behavior, or influencing unacceptable behavior. Overall, this event is special because everyone takes a collective responsibility to create a safe environment. If you see anything that looks like someone is feeling unsafe or unwell, you don't need to solve it, but there's contact information on the back of the lanyard to reach those of us on the organizing safety team. We want to help you help this event stay as inclusive and safe as possible, and we thank you for letting us know if there's anything we can do to improve in that regard. Again, I mentioned it earlier, some people here are wearing yellow lanyards. You're my, oh, did you decide to take that off for the group photo? All right, I love you, man. All right, but who's got a yellow lanyard on? Anyone? Taking that off too? I love it. There's an opt-in. Hey, you're cool because you picked yellow. You're my privacy guy. Can I call you that? Yeah. So if you see people in yellow lanyards show extreme documentation restraint, please don't photograph folks who have asked not to be photographed. And that's especially true of the people that like to get that panoramic 360-degree thing that phones now let you do. And so in all seriousness, honor the yellow. And just overall, I will say it again, let us set a collective tone of goodness. As has been pointed out, this is not the best era ever in the world, but we can make this an incredibly special and transformative space if we do take care of and respect one another. Speaking of taking care and respecting one another, this event lives and dies based on the leadership of a group of people we call our Space Wranglers. They have made yet another sacrifice by being willing to sit in the front row while I talk on, letting these large placards lean against their knees. What we want to do now is invite the Wranglers to stand on up, to turn your placards around so that the audience can be greeted with a rainbow of space goodness. Can we get big love for the Wranglers? Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. Oh yeah. For those who do not know, this building is organized by spaces. These are some of the people that have helped to wrangle those spaces. I see other beautiful spaces and faces holding forth. What we're going to do is a quick introduction and a set of invitations to the spaces. And I'm going to start down at this end, trying not to create feedback with the speaker. All right. Hey, what space are you? What can we come do with you? And where can we find you?
You can find us on level 7.
Can we get a wave from level 7? Yeah, hello up there. Yeah. And what kind of things can we do with you?
Everything open.
Excellent. We love that. Hey, yellow, what can we do with you and where?
You can join us for a digital revolution on level 6 in the decentralization space.
Give it up, level 6. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Hey, privacy and security, where and what?
Hi, we have a tea party with biscuits, candy on the 8th floor.
Yeah. It's the Mo Zone.
Join us on floor 1 in the Mo Zone for wide-ranging discussions about healthier internet, movement building, openness, and more trustworthy AI.
Excellent. And digital inclusion, beware the speaker when you talk. Who's telling us? Why don't you come on over here so you won't get feedback?
So we're digital inclusion, and we're on floor 6. And come collaborate with a diverse group of leaders who are working to make the internet more inclusive.
Thank you. Fantastic. Who, where, what can we do with you?
Querying up on level 6. Come find your guiding star with us.
Love it, and that's right there. Oh yeah, right there. Thank you, thank you. You've got another speaker. Let me move you down just a smidge so it doesn't yell at you.
Oh, sure.
Who are you? Where are you? What can we do with you?
Sure, we're web literacy. We're right here on level 4. Come for some costumes and for some tricks and treats. Learn to create the internet and learn about some of the tricks that people are going to play on you there.
Love it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Hey, arts and culture.
Hey, we're Arts and Culture. We're on the mezzanine for the gallery space, and we're on floor 8 for the Arts and Culture Salon.
Awesome, thank you. It's neurodiversity.
Hello, we're Neurodiversity. We're up on level 7. Come and help us celebrate differently wired brains, find a new perspective in our den of joy.
Love it, love it. And the Youth Zone, a big part of why we're here.
We're the Youth Zone. We're down on floor 2, and we're going to have a Minecraft meetup, and we're going to be building your own Alexa and a lot of other really fun workshops which are youth-led or led by people who are young at heart.
Awesome. Yeah. Friends, can we get a big love bomb for all of these spaces and space wranglers? Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. All right. I'm going to propose, and in a second we'll get those placards out of the way for the group photograph. Friends, I will just emphasize the architecture of this agenda is deliberately designed, and I am sorry to tell you the truth, to guarantee fear of missing out. There are so many good sessions going on at any one time. What we want to do before we send you there, can I get the rest of these chairs filled? Will you brave people, can I just get this filled in? Come on down. I know you're like, I hate Gunner. Come on, please, fill this up. Can I get people in here? And yes, all right. And can I get, is the fox going to be part of the picture? I know you've got 2 roles here, but I just want the fox, no props right now. Come on in, get some volunteers in here. Anywhere, just pile in, push together. Come on in. Can we keep filling up that aisle? I need more of y'all, please. Oh, beautiful people in the back. Come on off the wall. We want to fill this whole aisle. Love it. Come on in. Volunteers, pile on in there. Go on back. And we'll put the fox right here in the front and the center, and we could pile more volunteers behind the fox. Mark, you're great. 2 things. 1, before we do the photograph, folks in blue t-shirts, folks in pink t-shirts, can I get some pink t-shirt arms over there? Ravensbourne volunteers and Mozilla volunteers. Give them big love. Yeah, the volunteers make this event work. And I humbly ask you, show them big respect. They are co-creators of this event. Help them help us do good things. And can we get some big love for whoever's doing the hard work of being inside this incredible mascot? Yeah! Yeah! Yep. Anyone who's ever done that knows it's an unavoidable weight loss clinic. All right. What I want to do now, and again, keep on coming in. I still got some open space here, and we got, okay, Fox is going to go there. Great. Are there any open chairs? I got 2 open chairs. Come on in. Can you slide down? Can I slide you down? Yep. This is a time you can go back to your seat in a second, but if you'll slide in and make room for people to sit next to you, thank you. I love this queue. It's just like the tube. Fantastic. Come on in. Keep going. Do I have any other open chairs? Any other chairs that need healing? All right. Fantastic. Keep coming in. So, all right. Let me get you all now to go ahead and sit down because we're going to be looking up. So let's turn the fox around. Get him down on the ground. Fox is like, I have to trust my peers in this awkward situation. All right. So here's what we're going to do. Again, there's two types of people. Some of you know the shtick and some of you don't. But help us make the best possible group photo. We do this in 3 rounds. Is my camera's ready? You good up there? Love you, man. All right. We are going to take the photograph in 3 phases. And I need everybody to be all in on all 3 phases. The first phase, we call this the 19th-century photograph. It's everyone totally serious because we're serious about internet health. We're serious about ethical AI. It was illegal to smile in photographs in the 19th century. We need to channel that 1859 energy to show how serious we are about internet health and ethical AI. And I see a gap at the back. Can I get a couple more people filling in? Come on in. I know. I love you. Come on, Anil. A little further. Come on. Need you. All right. Once we've done that, then we're going to do what jaded people like me call the typical group photograph. We're going to smile. And as we smile, we're going to do a little thing that explodes into joy. I'm going to count 30, 20, 10, and pardon anyone who hates sports analogies, I'll scream goal. But the idea is it makes an amazing animated GIF. And so can everybody practice with me? At 30, your hands are on your hips. At 20, they're at your shoulder. 10, they're at your ears. Go! And the annoying part is I'm going to keep saying goal, and you have to hold it up there until the photographer tells us that he's got enough shots that one of them is in focus. And then, and I need everybody on this one. This last one, oh, do I need you people. The last one, it's almost Halloween. We are going to all make our scariest, craziest face in the name of a healthy internet with ethical AI. And what goes wrong in this third one is that occasionally someone here does the 1859 face. They're just like. So I would just like to practice right now. I kind of do the scrunch up my fingers, cross my eyes thing that make my niece and nephew tell me I'm not funny, but it's like, argh! I need all of you right now to give me your Halloween faces in dress rehearsal mode on 3. Scare me. 1, 2, 3. Ah! Awesome. And the only variant when we do it will be looking that way. We'll get this done. We'll almost be done with this thing. Thank you for hanging in for the opening plenary. I'm going to make myself some room here. All right. Friends, everybody serious. Everybody looking up. Let's just be serious. We are serious for internet help. Good. Thank you. All right, now we start with smiles. Everybody smile the I just got an award smile. Your hands are on your hips. You ready? 30. And then 20 on your shoulders. And then 10 sort of backwards to your ears. And then go! All right, almost done with this. I thank you all. Really, I need all your inner thespians to be on fire with interpreting the ask. 1, 2, 3, scary face. Ah! All right. Thank you all. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We are almost done. Thank you. Thank you, Fox. I know you've got to get off stage and get into your next outfit for the next number. I love you. Let's go get you set up for that. Friends, we have just 2 more things, and then you're free to go to sessions. We have prepared a short video that tells the visual story of the first 10 years of Mozilla Festival. I believe it is queued up and ready to go. We'll have tissues available if you get moved. But on your mark, get set. I believe we are queuing up with a little visual look back. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. All right. Hey, where did my fox go? I thought the fox was going to bring out a thing. Is that not a thing anymore? Okay. I love it when the choreography gets a little bit jumbled. Friends, is there a celebratory sugar-based technology? That side. Oh, okay. And should I be stalling to get them here? Where is my celebratory sugar-based technology? There we go. It's a MozFest birthday cake. Can I get the band to strike it up? This is happy birthday to all of you. Mozilla Festival, 10 years. Thank you, thank you. Oh, yeah, that was tight. Love it. I guess I have to help. All right, thank you. Friends, I thank you all for a first part of the day, but this is only the beginning. Please, in a direct fashion, do 2 things. There'll be cake passed about as you leave. Feel free to grab some sugar. But with that, please head straight to your spaces and let us create this Mozilla Festival weekend. Thank you all. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.